I'm Stephanie Wright and I'm a ceramic artist and potter. I started potting in 1980 when I was travelling with my husband, and there were times when I didn't have a work permit and I had basically nothing better to do than learn to throw in my garage. So I started in the best way possible, which was throwing day after day after day. So from there I became a tableware potter, and I worked in the States, in Canada and Norway, and then back in England when we returned 14 years later. In the end, I studied for a Ceramics City and Guilds portfolio course, then a sculpture course, then a art foundation, and finally 2-year ceramics diploma. So I got all my history of art and a great deal of time to practice and play, free up, and have great ideas about where to go from my tableware. So during that time there were some significant turning points. One was when I was learning about the futurists in my history of art classes, and I noticed that the Bala swirly speed paintings and the Girl Descending Stairs, I think is by Duchamp, they struck me as being something I could try in 3 dimensions. So my simplest form is what I call a wave form, and this came out of a discarded pedestal of a raised bowl, and there was one left over, so I split it through with a normal wire and opened it up, and somehow that form has stuck. And then I realised that if I put ridges, parallel ridges in the form and opened it up in the same way, it would form these extraordinary cut edge with a pattern in the cut edge. Then I discovered one day that this cut edge looked like a figure. So I realised I could actually manipulate and sculpt the figure in the side of the pot, in the wall of the pot. The slicing can be extended to about 3 or 4 different techniques. One is if I slice right the way through and I get a couple dancing, a couple holding hands, looking at each other. Another is when I slice all the way around a donut and I get slices which look like people, and if I make sure they're standing up, then they can relate to each other and I can have a whole conversation or a bit of dancing round in a circle. And every one is suggesting a completely new form, which is always suggesting movement in one way or the other. The final piece that I've shown here is sliced all the way down like bread. So when I lay these down and fuse them with glaze on a sanded shelf in the kiln, this creates a sort of bone-like structure. I have a base, very dry, very matte barium and lithium glaze, which is extraordinarily good for creating radiant colours. And when I spray it on, it's got very little silica, so it doesn't turn into a gloss glaze at all. It maintains its matte effect. And even more than that, it actually maintains its shape in little blobs. And I think that's the reason why the light is bouncing off each one of the blobs and is creating this extraordinary colour. There are so many forms in nature that my pieces remind me of that it keeps me going when I'm out and about, and it keeps the inspiration going. And I also love the people, because I've always been a bit worried about how to portray my enjoyment of figurative work. And this is my way of presenting figurative work in a slightly quirky way. I'm not a terribly serious potter. I enjoy the fun in my pieces.